this afternoon. Crack the whip. That's the call by anti-corruption campaigners to the Ghana Revenue Authority after JoyNews investigations uncovered how some staff of the GRA aid businesses bidding for contracts to circumvent laid down procedures in the acquisition of tax clearance certificates for them. With a paltry sum of 1,500 cedis, officials are able to forge tax records for newly created companies without any evidence of work. JoyNews' Kuwete Nate has more in the following report titled Fake Clearance.
I have received countless information that contractors and business owners fake tax clearance certificates so they can bid for government contracts. So I set out to verify the authenticity of this claim. I began by registering a company called Basket Ports. Barely a week after the company became official, I set out to get a tax clearance certificate, even though my company had no tax record. Before we get into the detail of how I managed to get a forged tax clearance certificate, which could pass off as authentic, the head of Domestic Tax Office, Edward Jamra, explains why a tax clearance certificate is important.
Tax clearance certificate is a compliance tool which is used by the government. Tax clearance comply with this tax obligation.
With the explanation out of the way, I approached a Ghana Revenue Authority staff who worked with another tax officer at the Agbogloshi GRA office and was asked to pay a sum of 1,500 cedis. I told them I needed a good turnaround tax record, and they secured a tax clearance certificate covering 3 years. The certificate reads, "Provisionally not liable to tax, deposit 500 cedis. This should help the investigative team to secure a government contract with ease."
A tax certificate that has a good turnaround.
I don't get you. You said?
They need a tax certificate that has a history that I've done some job. Done a zero tax certificate. Would I have to pay all at once or,
Yes.
or I can make down payment?
No.
Okay, I need to pay all at once.
No number you should be.
And if I pay, how long will it take for me to get?
Let time it go.
But maybe
for
next
now, I'll
week.
send it. I'll send it in office. I'll send it to them. So
And maybe next week
at
I'll
least
bring
by
the money.
Monday or Tuesday to be ready.
Oh, okay. Then
It
maybe.
will all depend on you.
The certificate was prepared within 3 days.
Baby, I'm going to come. I'm going to use certificate. And then at least my 1,000 now. The big
So let's see Tuesday. So Tuesday I would have to come.
Oh, you don't need to come. If it's ready, you can memo it to me.
Okay, no problem.
Head of the Domestic Tax Office, Edward Jamra, says the practice is fraudulent. He explains why.
If it's a new company cannot. So if you have a clearance certificate for a new company, which is indicating that the company has been paying taxes for previous 3 years, it's an indication of a fraudulent tax clearance certificate.
Preliminary investigations by the GRA reveal the tax detail of tax clearance are genuine, but another fact is that they were forged. The head of the Domestic Tax Office says they will investigate further to establish the details of the individuals behind the act.
We will be happy to investigate to find out how this tax clearance certificate was issued to the company.
So although I did not qualify for a tax clearance certificate, some GRA staff have helped me circumvent the system and have put me in a good light to bid for a government contract.
And other problem too is that now because we are short of certificates.
Oh, okay.
But some of the officers, they have it. Those who work on that schedule.
Okay.
It is clear beating the system in Ghana comes at a price. So what is your price tag? Kwetinatis reports for Joy News.
Well, board chairman of the Internal Audit Agency, Joe Winfield, is calling on the GRA to fish out the culprits and sanction them to serve as a deterrent. He spoke on Joy News desk on the Joy News channel.
Well, you know, it looks as if, although Mr. Senano indicated that we seem to have cultivated this culture of saying, I'm helping someone, I'm doing a favor. As a result, you know, what is wrong with being kind to my fellow Ghanaian? Maybe that is the attitude. But even the employee should know that the essence of ensuring that we collect the revenue into the government chest and is done properly is to bring about efficiency in not only our revenue collection, but even in the processes that will follow to get to that end. Now, in the private sector, you can ask what will happen. I mean, the person will be fired as soon as it's proven that there was this intention or the motivation to actually enrich himself, because not all the amount collected was paid into the government chest.
Yes.
For you to say that circumventing the process was more of trying to help, but at the end of the day, I was trying to collect monies for the government. You know, that shouldn't be the case, because there was some of the amount apparently, you know, also ended up with the individual, which means that there was intention to really do this act. So I believe that the right punitive measure, and as a deterrent to others, would be to get rid of that employee. That's a bad nut. And then for all the rest to see that or to understand that they won't get away with it if they practice that. But there will be a need to, you know, review the systems in place.
Yes.
Find out the weaknesses within the control mechanisms, try and improve upon them, and then hold the senior persons also accountable, because they are the ones who are charged with actually providing oversight or supervising, and at the same time ensuring that they attain their targets through effective, you know, revenue mobilization. Because there's also a weakness within the whole process of revenue, you know, assessment and collection. And this, I don't think, is, you know, is the major issue at the institution. Most likely it's just the tip of the iceberg. And maybe we can say that it's given us the opportunity to, you know, look into, you know, the whole institution and see how best we can improve on what we are doing, because it has repercussions on our development.